Hello and good morning. Hello and good morning to everyone. Live on EAVA FM, Ajay Apru Breakfast Show Chair. We are joined with Kirit Mistry.
Hello, Kamcho. Namaste.
And we also joined with our breakfast presenter, Dinesh Bhai.
Hello.
Yeah. So today we're going to be doing a show which is dedicated to Loros. We're going to get Dinesh Bhai and Kirit Bhai to translate for us.
Okay. Sure.
So Ajay Apre show karana chair about Loros and end of life care. So Dinesh Bhai, do you want to say a few words in Hindi about end of life, what it means?
सभी के जीवन में एक सत्य निश्चित है कि कभी न कभी हमें इस जीवन से विदा लेना है और ये क्षण जैसे जन्म बहुत ही महत्व का है वैसे ही मृत्यु बहुत ही महत्व का है सिर्फ व्यक्ति के लिए नहीं किंतु उनके परिवार के लिए भी और ये ऐसी क्षण है अगर अच्छी तरह उसके सभी आयामों को अच्छी तरह अगर निभाया जा सके यानी मृत्यु शांतिदायक हो कुछ कष्टकारी न हो और परिवार जनों को मृतक के आखिरी क्षणों में उनके साथ रहने का मौका मिले मृतक के कष्ट में भागीदारी करना मिले तो आखिर में सभी के लिए यह सुखकारी शांतिदायक हो जाएगा तो यही महत्व है जिंदगी के आखिरी क्षण में
Okay, so as Dinesh Bhai has explained, today is all about Loros and talking about end of life care. Iloko research karelu chair. So now I'm going to bring in Irfan and Christina from Loros to speak a little bit about what's happening. So I'm going to bring them live on air. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning. Kem cho bada ho rahe cho tame?
Badda majama chair. Tame all right, Irfan?
Bas majama.
Okay. So the first question we're going to be asking is how is the study going? And tell me what you've actually done and what the study is about. Dinesh Bhai, do you just want to quickly explain that the first question in Hindi?
अच्छा ये जो आप जो अभ्यास कर रहे हैं जो तो उसकी प्रगति किस तरह से हो रही है उसमें क्या हो रहा है उसके बारे में आप कृपया बताएं
Okay, so who would like to answer that first question?
I'm happy to do that if you like, Christina.
Okay.
Yes? Okay, so good morning, listeners of EAVA FM, and thank you once again, Vijay and the team, for giving us this opportunity to talk about this really important study. So essentially, what this study has been doing for the last 3 years is that it is a national study which has been funded by the NHS. And the aim of the study is to really capture and understand the experiences of end-of-life care for Black, Asian, and ethnic minority communities, to understand if there is a need to do more from the NHS and by the professionals who work in the service around their understanding of the cultural, spiritual, religious requirements of these communities. So what we have done is we have, over the last 3 years, we have spoken to individuals, patients, families, carers of these communities to try and listen to their experience and understand what it's been like for them and then feed that back into the NHS.
Okay. Kirit Bhai, तुमने कहीं बोलना चाहिए अंदर?
तो खाली जे अपन भाई किधर छे के स्टडी चालू करू छे 3 વર્ષથી ચાલુ કર્યું છે ને આપણા NHS ફંડિંગ આપ્યું છે ને મેઇન કે આપણા કમ્યુનિટીઝ આપણા બ્લેક એશિયન કમ્યુનિટીઝ છે ને એ લોકો માટે જાણવું છે કે કઈ સપોર્ટ જોઈએ એ લોકોને કેવું સર્વિસીસ હોવું જોઈએ જ્યારે પ્રી એન્ડ ઓફ લાઈફ કરે કે એમાં મેઇન તો છે કે જો આપણા પ્રોફેશનલ્સ આપણા ડોક્ટર્સ મેડિકલ પ્રોફેશનલ્સ બધા કામ કરતા છે પણ આપણા કમ્યુનિટીનું વોઇસ નથી એટલે એની આ સ્ટડી ચાલુ કર્યું છે એટલે ઇટ્સ વેરી ગુડ ને આપણે બધાએ જાણવું છે આજે.
Okay. Thank you for that, Kirit Bhai. I'm going to let Dinesh Bhai say a few words in Hindi about this study.
अच्छा, अभी बहुत ही अच्छी तरह आपने बताया कि ये जो स्टडी हो रही है, ये जो अभ्यास हो रहा है, वो इसलिए हो रहा है कि NHS और अन्य स्वास्थ्य प्रदान करने वाली संस्थाएं ये इस जीवन के आखिर में जो ये क्षण है उसके बारे में वे अच्छी तरह समझ पाते हैं या नहीं, और कुछ महत्वपूर्ण बिंदु ये है कि कुछ सांस्कृतिक मान्यताएं, जीवन की पद्धति आदि कुछ अलग सी है, तो उसी को ध्यान में लेते हुए वे ये समझ पाते हैं या नहीं, और ये अभ्यास में कैरर्स और अन्य लोगों जो जीवन के आखिरी क्षणों में शामिल हुए उनके साथ बातें की गई थी.
बहुत अच्छा दिनेश भाई तुमने बोला है कि ये बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट रिसर्च है हमारे सारे कम्युनिटी के लिए, कुछ किसी लिए कि जब किसी का देहांत होता है तो हम लास्ट मिनट को देखते हैं कि क्या करना है, क्या केयर करना है. और दिनेश भाई बहुत अच्छा तुमने बोला है. और किरीट भाई તમે બી કિરીટ ભાઈ સારી રીતે બોલ્યું છે કે આ રિસર્ચ છે આપણું કે આપણા બધા કમ્યુનિટીને ખબર પડે કે એન્ડ ઓફ લાઈફની જ્યારે આપણે કંઈ કરવાના હોય તો આપણે પહેલેથી વાત કરવી જોઈએ, આપણે બોલવું જોઈએ, આપણે ચાલુ કરવું જોઈએ conversation. Irfan, do you want to say any few words in Gujarati or anything? તમને બોલવું છે ઇરફાન ભાઈ?
મારી ગુજરાતી બહુ તૂટી ફૂટી છે, so I'll leave that to the experts. But yeah, I mean, it's very important because everyone at some point will have to go through end-of-life care for either themselves or their loved ones and their families, or they will know about it. And there are two elements to end-of-life care. First thing is it's very emotional and stressful for everyone involved. And the second thing is that it doesn't matter which community or background or religion you're from, it's very significant. And what we need to understand is that everybody attaches a very high significance to end-of-life care. And it's really important that the healthcare professionals can apply and understand that significance to the individual to make sure that the experience they get is as safe, as positive, and as reassuring as possible, so that when the families of that loved one look back, that experience is not painful. It's something which is, that there's an element of dignity attached to it, and that they can think, yes, my father, my mother, my grandmother, or whoever it was, receive the best possible care in line with our beliefs and values.
Absolutely. I think Irfan, I'm gonna move on to the next question. I'm gonna say we've mentioned why this whole research is very important and why you're doing this and Atome Kem karwana cha research. That's the next question. So why are you doing this research? Ye research kisi liye tum karte ho?
Okay, so I think if Christina, who is the lead driving force behind the project so far, is probably best placed to briefly explain what you've just asked, Vijay.
Yeah. So Christina, I've just basically asked, what do you hope to achieve from doing this research?
Oh, thank you. Good morning. Thanks for letting us come to talk. We're doing it to get things better, really. We know that for some people, this phase of life when people are dying, when they're very ill, when they may be having a lot of pain, can be really frightening. They don't know who to turn to. They don't know what to expect. And people have said, when we've talked to people who've been bereaved, who have lost someone, if only I'd known. So what we want to do in this is to help share information about what might be expected, what sort of things might you need to think about and perhaps plan for, but certainly need to understand who to seek help from, what services, what words might mean, like hospice or palliative care. What does that mean? What does it give to me? Because if it can have a lot of myths and misunderstandings connected. So overall, we want to help people have a better end of life than seems to be so for some people at the moment.
Okay, thank you for that, Christina. Kirit bhai, તમને કઈ બોલવું છે આની અંદર કે આ શા માટે કરતા છે આ રિસર્ચ?
Sure. આપણે છે ને જે ક્રિસ્ટીના બોલે હમણાં કે આપણા જે સર્વિસીસ હોવા જોઈએ એન્ડ ઓફ લાઈફ આપણે જે જ્યારે ટાઈમ આવે કે આપણે પોતે કદાચ કોઈ ફેમિલી મેમ્બરના કોઈના લાઈફ ખતમ જવાની છે તો શું સર્વિસીસ હોવું જોઈએ ને કઈ સપોર્ટ મળવું જોઈએ ને આપણા આ સ્ટડી એવી રીતના ચાલુ કર્યું છે કે ઇમ્પોર્ટન્ટ કે આપણા ઇન્ફોર્મેશન જે તમને કયું ઇન્ફોર્મેશન જોઈએ કે તમારાથી પછી તમારા ડિસિઝન લેવાય એ અમને બોલ્યા ક્રિસ્ટીના ને બીજું તો કઈ જાતના સર્વિસીસ હોવા જોઈએ એ બી તમને સમજાવતા છે કે કેવું તમારાથી એક્સેસ કરાય. તો મેઇન તો છે કે આ પ્રોજેક્ટ બહુ સારું છે ને આપણા કમ્યુનિટી છે ને એન્ગેજ કરવું જોઈએ. આપણે જો એન્ગેજ કરે તો પછી એ લોકોને ખબર નહીં કરે કે કઈ રીતના સર્વિસીસ ડેવલપ કરાય એ લોકોની ફ્યુચરમાં.
દિનેશ ભાઈ એ સાચી વાત છે. આઈ મીન કિરીટ ભાઈ તો સાચી વાત છે તમે બોલ્યા કે આપણી જે આખી જે કમ્યુનિટી છે આપણું આખું સમાજ જે છે તમે લોકો બોલો કે તમને શું કરવું છે. આપણે કોઈના ધ્યાન થાય છે તો આપણે બોલવું જોઈએ કે આપણને એમ કરવું છે ને એમ થવું છે ને આપણા વિરાજમાં આપણે એમ કરે છે. આપણા કલ્ચરમાં કે આપણે સનાતન ધર્મમાં હોય કે આપણે શીખી હોય કે આપણે મુસ્લિમ હોય તો આપણને એમ કરવું છે ને આપણે કોઈને ધ્યાન થાય તો આપણે પછી આપણે આપણા હેલ્થ સર્વિસને કહી શકે કે આપણું આવી ના કરવાના છે. Okay.
આગળ આવવું જોઈએ આપણે આગળ આવવું જોઈએ.
Vijay, sorry, can I just come in there on that point? It's more than just about telling us about the services. What we find is, especially with South Asian communities, all those groups that you just mentioned, there is a big cultural element, and I think there's a bit of cultural stigma as well about end of life care. So some people might be of the belief that, well, when my mum or dad get old, I'll just look after them. It's not that simple, I'm afraid. Depending on the type of medical condition or the illness that the individual has, sometimes we as family members are not equipped to give the right sort of care. So this is why it's really important that we encourage these communities to feel safe about talking about end of life care.
Okay, so Irfan mentioned something really important there, so I'm going to try to translate. I will try to translate in Gujarati and I will tell Kirit to translate. Then we'll give Dinesh Bhai to translate as well in Gujarati. Hindi he's here. So જે આ રિસર્ચ કરતા છે જ્યારે કોઈને ધ્યાન થતું હોય તો આપણે એમ સોચે કે આપણે ઘરે આપણને લુક આફ્ટર કરશું જેના ધ્યાન થવાનો હોય, પણ ઇનફેક્ટ એ લોકો બીમાર હોય તો આપથી બધું નહીં કરાય. તો આપણે છે ને મદદ માંગવાની. આપણું જે લોરસ છે એ લોકો મદદ કરશે આપણને કે કેવી રીતના આપણે લુક આફ્ટર કરે. આપણે કોઈ બહુ બીમાર હોય ને એ લોકોને બહુ બીમાર હોય તો પછી આપણે એ લોકોને પછી હેલ્પ કરશું. આપણું લોરસ છે NHS છે એ લોકો હેલ્પ કરશે તમને કે કેવી રીતના હેલ્પ કરશે, મદદ કરશે. કિરીટ ભાઈ તમને કઈ બોલવું છે?
હા, તમે જે બોલ્યા કે સારું છે કે આપણે હેલ્પ માંગવી જોઈએ, પણ મેઇન છે કે આપણે ખબર નથી કે શું મળવું, શું હેલ્પ મળવું છે. ને આપણે જે સર્વિસીસ છે આપણે લોરસ ને બધા એ બી છે ને વધારે કમ્યુનિટીમાં આવે ને પછી બધાને સમજાવે કે કઈ કઈ સર્વિસીસ હોય એ જરૂર છે. કે આપણે અફાનભાઈ બોલ્યા કે કલ્ચરલ સ્ટિગ્મા, પણ આપણે કલ્ચરલ સ્ટિગ્મા તો છે. આપણે જે બધી બીમારી હોય સ્ટિગ્મા તો છે, પણ મેઇન કલ્ચરલ પ્રોબ્લેમ છે કે આપણા કલ્ચરલ કોમ્પિટન્સ કહેવાય. એનું મતલબ કે આ જે બધા સર્વિસીસ છે એ લોકો વધારે જો આપણા કમ્યુનિટી સાથે નહીં એન્ગેજ કરે ને એ લોકો જો ખબર નહીં કરે કે આપણે હિન્દુ ધર્મ આવી ના કરવું જોઈએ, ઇસ્લામમાં આવી ના કરવું જોઈએ, એ કલ્ચરલ કોમ્પિટન્સ એ મેઇન કે આપણે જે સર્વિસીસ હોય લોરસ ને NHS એ લોકો સાથે જોડીને કામ કરવું જોઈએ, તો એ લોકોથી પછી સારા સર્વિસીસ કલ્ચરલી અપાય અમારા કમ્યુનિટીમાં. પણ સ્ટિગ્મા છે ને જાતના સ્ટિગ્મા છે. આપણે મેન્ટલ હેલ્થનું સ્ટિગ્મા છે, કેન્સરનું સ્ટિગ્મા છે. આપણે છે ને આ કમ્યુનિટી જરૂર છે કે આપણે વાત કરવાની આ બધા બીમારી માટે.
ओके, चलो दिनेश भाई तुम सबको अभी बोलो हिंदी में.
अच्छा, क्रिस्टीना ने बहुत ही अच्छी तरह से समझाया कि ये जो स्टडी हो रही है, अभ्यास हो रहा है, वो मृत्यु के आसपास की क्षणों में मृतक के लिए, उनके परिवार के लिए जो चीजें हैं, जो सेवा है, वो अच्छी बेहतरीन कैसे बनाई जा सकती है. और क्रिस्टीना ने कहा कि इसी क्षण बहुत ही चिंताजनक होती है मृतक के लिए, उनके परिवार के लिए. वे किन से मदद मांगे और उनकी अपेक्षाएं क्या है, उसके बारे में बहुत लोगों को पता नहीं. और क्या है कि कौन सी सेवाएं उपलब्ध है, हॉस्पिस क्या है, पैलेटिव केयर यानी कष्टदायी जीवन के कष्ट को कम करने के लिए जो किया जाता है वो क्या है, लोगों को पता नहीं. इरफान भाई ने कहा कि एक सांस्कृतिक कल्चरल तत्व भी इसमें है, और स्टिग्मा यानी लोग क्या कहेंगे कि मेरे पिता है, मेरी माँ है, अगर मैं उन्हें लोरस में छोड़ के आऊंगा तो लोग मेरे बारे में क्या बोलेंगे. तो ऐसी बहुत सारी जो समस्या है, जो ऐसे तत्व है जो दूसरे लोग अनजान है. तो ये एक जो सांस्कृतिक बातें हैं वो बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण है, जिसे हमें ध्यान में लेना चाहिए. और ये अच्छा है कि अभ्यास में ये जो स्टडी हो रही है उसमें उसका ध्यान लिया जाता है. और जैसे अभी किरीट भाई ने बताया कि ये बहुत ही जरूरी है कि ये जो स्टिग्मा, लोग क्या कहेंगे, ऐसी जो घबराहट है हमारे मन में, तो उसके बारे में एक रास्ता ये है कि लोरोस और अन्य स्वास्थ्य प्रदान करने वाली सेवाएं, संस्थाएं अगर लोगों के पास जाकर उन्हें समझाए उनकी भाषा में, उनको जैसे समझ में आता है उसी भाषा में, उसी जबान में उसे समझाए, तो हो सकता है ये जो स्टिग्मा है, जो घबराहट है, जो चिंताएं है, वो कम हो सकती है.
ओके, सो दिनेश भाई तूने बहुत अच्छी बात बोली है कि हमारे घबराहट है, स्टिग्मा है, और हम बात करनी क्या चाहिए about this. Also, why is it important for us to do this in terms of to talk about this and kind of remove this?
अच्छा, ये जैसे मेरा अपना व्यक्तिगत अनुभव है कि मैं अंतिम संस्कार, फ्यूनरल राइट्स में हम मुफ्त सेवा प्रदान कर रहे हैं. और कई लोगों को नियमित रूप से हमें मिलता है और कई बार लोग महीनों के बाद सालों के बाद उनके हृदय में एक पीड़ा सी रह जाती है जो उनको करना था वे कर नहीं सके क्योंकि क्या है कि जिस परिस्थिति में थे उसमें स्वास्थ्य प्रदान करने वाली संस्था अन्य संस्थाएं अन्य कार्यकर वे ये सांस्कृतिक और अन्य बातें उनकी समझ में नहीं आई कि ये कितनी महत्वपूर्ण है तो न सिर्फ वह व्यक्ति के लिए जो मृत्यु
हमारे पास 20 सेकंड है एडवर्ट्स के लिए ओके
पर उनके परिवार के लिए भी यह बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण है ओके धन्यवाद
okay we're going to come back after our commercial break on EAVA FM. This is the breakfast show and it's a LOROS takeover. Let's talk about opening the conversation about end of life care. We're going to come straight back within the next few minutes. Speak to you soon.
EAVA, sharing the richness of cultures. This is EAVA FM.
Grill Shack, Leicester's finest jerk chicken specialist, giving you that carnival taste all year round. Jerk chicken, rice and peas, coleslaw and fried dumplings. Yummy. Come and check us out in the heart of the city, 167 Belgrave Gate, Leicester, LE1 3HS. Try our boneless jerk range in a wrap, gourmet burger, pita or strips. What we do in our jerk range, we also do in Peri Peri. Online delivery via Just Eat, Deliveroo, I'll Get It and Zoom. For collection and orders, call us on 0116 262 2885. That's 0116 262 2885. Grill Shack, the authentic taste that brings a smile to your face every time.
Serving the community 24 hours a day. EAVA FM.
हर साल 4 वयस्कों में से एक मानसिक रूप से अस्वस्थ होता है। हम लेस्टरशायर और रटलैंड में वयस्कों के लिए मानसिक स्वास्थ्य सेवाओं में निवेश और सुधार करना चाहते हैं ताकि लोगों की व्यक्तिगत जरूरतों का समर्थन करने के लिए स्वास्थ्य सेवाओं के साथ मिलकर काम करना आसान हो सके। चाहे आप अभी या भविष्य में इन सेवाओं का उपयोग करें। परामर्श में अपने विचार साझा करके हमें बताएं कि आपके और आपके परिवार के लिए सबसे महत्वपूर्ण क्या है। www.greatmentalhealthllr.nhs.uk पर जाकर एक सर्वेक्षण पूरा करें या 011629500750 पर कॉल करें और हम सब मिलकर बदलाव कर सकते हैं। आज ही ग्रेट मेंटल हेल्थ की ओर कदम बढ़ाएं।
EAVA FM.
1 in 4 adults are unwell with their mental health each year. We want to invest in and improve mental health services for adults in Leicester, Leicestershire and Rutland to make care easy to access, with health services working together to support people's individual needs. Whether you use services now or may in the future, tell us what matters most to you and your family by sharing your views in a consultation. Complete a survey at www.greatmentalhealthllr.nhs.uk or call 0116 295 0750. And together we can make the change. Step up to great mental health today.
This is EAVA FM.
Everyone can now get free rapid COVID-19 tests twice a week. They show your results within 30 minutes. They also show you're doing what you can to protect your loved ones, your friends, your workmates, and that you want to keep life moving again. Around 1 in 3 people who have COVID-19 have no symptoms and are spreading it without knowing. That could be a friend, a relative, a workmate. It could even be you. Rapid tests are easy to get from nhs.uk/get tested. Let's take this next step safely.
EAVA FM is a multilingual radio station serving the diverse communities of Leicester on 102.5 FM. For advertising and sponsorship, email sales@eavafm.com or call 07811 659 364. That's 07811 659 364. Serving the community, 102.5 EAVA FM.
We're back. How's everyone doing? Thank you for joining us. This is a special Loros Takeover on EAVA FM 102.5. It's the breakfast show. We are joined today with, as I mentioned, Loros. We've got Dinesh Bhai in the studio. We've got Kirit Bhai in the studio. We've got Irfan Bhai in the studio. And we've also got Christina in the studio. And we're all live. Remember, you can watch this on YouTube. You can also watch this on our Facebook. And I do understand that બધા હમણાં કામે જવાના છે કે તમે કામે ચાલુ થઈ ગયા already, but yeah, પછી બી હશે આ YouTube માં ને આપણો Facebook માં આપણે તમને share કરશું, but તમે રેડિયોમાં tune કરતા. Thank you for all the phone calls and everything. So that's fantastic. The phone's ringing away as well. Message bhi આવતા છે એટલે બહુ સરસ છે. Okay, તો આપણે આ research ની વાત કરતા છે ને. Our next question is, our research કોણ કરતું છે ને? Who is involved in this research? So who do I send that message to? Who's going to answer that for us? Who's involved?
I think Christina is probably best.
Yes. Okay, Christina. Then we will translate. Thank you, Christina.
Thank you. So we've had more than 100 people who've talked to us. So they're the most important people that have been involved. They've talked to us about their experiences. We've also had an amazing group of people who've advised us. So people from a whole diversity of the communities have advised us on how to go about this project. Everything from how we approach people, what language we use, to what things might be interpreted as. So that's been fantastic. And then there's the research team, some of us based at Loros. Irfan's part of that team. We've had help from people at Nottingham University, the Open University, and then people who work in organisations in Birmingham and London have also been great advisors and steering us through this work. So a big team of people, but the most important people have been the people who have this serious illness, who are living with the prospect of dying, and their families have come forward and talked to us.
Christina, just to follow up on your who's been involved, am I right in understanding that the actual survey and the research has been co-produced by the patients and obviously community members, and secondly, the team of your researchers, the diversity? I know you've mentioned Irfan, but in terms of people who speak languages, people who come from those communities, how diverse have they been as well?
Okay, thank you for that, Kirit. Yes, it has been co-produced in the sense of that advisory group has helped us get it right and worked all the way along with us on that. The diversity of the research team. So Dr. Zobia Islam is the principal investigator. So she's also a bilingual person. So she's been able to talk to people in their homes, in their own language, and she's been able to directly understand that. We also have someone from Kenyan background in the team, and then people like myself who have a white British background and other languages, but not ones that have been useful for this. What we have done, though, is worked with a team of interpreters when we've needed to talk to people in a language that we don't have in the team. So we've had a third person there that's like you are doing, translating words back and forward. And that's been really quite unique. And we've sought a lot of advice and guidance from people who've done this type of research. But generally, they've said they've not had the experience of needing an interpreter within an interview, within a conversation. So we've kind of led the way in that a little bit.
Thank you for that.
Go on and Kirit Bhai, tumne bolu છે કઈ?
Just Christina, हमने કીધું કે કોણ આપણા આ સ્ટડીમાં ઇન્વોલ્વ કર્યું છે કે આપણા રિસર્ચ જે છે આપણા કમ્યુનિટીમાં એ લોકો બી આવ્યા છે ને આપણે તમારા સાથે વાત જે પેશન્ટ્સ હોય એના સાથે વાત કર્યું છે. ટીમ છે, આખી ટીમ છે કે અત્યાર સુધી 100 જણાએ આ રિસ્પોન્સ કર્યું છે આ સ્ટડીમાં આપણા પેશન્ટ્સ તરીકે ને આ मैं पूछूं कि कई ना स्टडी को प्रोड्यूस કર્યું છે કે એનો મતલબ કે બધા પહેલા સ્ટડી પહેલાથી કઈ ના ઇન્વોલ્વ કરે છે કૃષ્ણે કીધું કે કમિટી એડવાઇઝર્સ છે કમિટીના એ લોકો સાથે વાત કરી ને પછી એવી રીતના આગળ લઈ ગયા સ્ટડી
ओके હવે દિનેશ ભાઈ तुमको कुछ बोलना है अभी
अच्छा क्रिस्टीना ने अभी ये बताया कि ये स्टडी में कौन कौन शामिल है उसमें 100 से ज्यादा लोग हैं तरह तरह के अनुभव वाले और उनके साथ काम कर रहे अलग अलग समाज के प्रतिष्ठित लोग जो सलाह देने का काम करते हैं और ये लोग क्या कर रहे हैं कि किस तरह से ये मृत्यु के आसपास के क्षणों में क्या करना चाहिए किस तरह करना चाहिए किस भाषा में बोलना चाहिए और ये जो स्टडी हो रही है ज्यादातर लॉरस में है पर उनके साथ नॉटिंघम यूनिवर्सिटी और बर्मिंघम लंदन के कुछ संस्थाएं भी शामिल है तो इस तरह से ये जो स्टडी हो रही है उसमें बहुत तरह तरह के अनुभव वाले तरह तरह के समाज के बहुत सारे लोग उसमें शामिल है
Okay, thank you for that दिनेश भाई तुमने बहुत अच्छा बोला है ये આજે આપણી રિસર્ચ છે 100 માણસ કામ કરતા છે અંદર બધી કમ્યુનિટીમાંથી આપણા સમાજમાંથી ગયા છે and help with the research. Okay, so the next question is how have people responded to being asked to take part? Are there any communities that you didn't manage to talk with? Dinesh bhai, you just want to repeat that question in
अच्छा ये जो अगला प्रश्न है उसमें क्या है कि अच्छा ये स्टडी तो हो रही है पर उसमें लोग किस तरह से उसमें शामिल हो रहा है उनकी प्रतिक्रिया क्या है और वे किस तरह से उसमें भाग ले रहे हैं इसके बारे में यह प्रश्न पूछा गया है
Okay, Irfan, do you want to take that or Christina?
Yeah, I'm happy to take that one. So
yeah, go on.
We've been very lucky and very humbled by the generosity of the people that we've spoken with. If you imagine talking about someone's life coming to an end or talking about your own life coming to an end is not easy at all. And for them to allow us into their lives at that moment in time, to share their stories, to share their journey, has been absolutely incredible. And it's allowed us, through our expert team, to really capture and understand their feelings, their thoughts, and their experiences. And that's the really important aspect of everything behind this study, is to actually get a sense of authentic experience, to really get a feeling of what end of life care means to communities, what death means to certain communities and religions, and how do we then take that experience and give it to the healthcare professionals so they are aware and can then enhance and improve the end of life experience.
Okay. Kirit bhai, तुमने बोलू છે કઈ?
Just Irfan ભાઈ બોલ્યા કે main આ પ્રશ્ન કમિટીમાંથી સારો રિસ્પોન્સ આવ્યો છે ને એનો રિસ્પોન્સ લઈને લોકોથી પછી આગળ લઈ જવાય કે કેવી સર્વિસીસ એ લોકો આપણા NHS સ્ટાફને ડેવલપ કરવું જોઈએ પણ ખાલી મને પૂછ્યું છે કે ઇરફાન ભાઈને કે કેટલા જણા રિસ્પોન્સ કર્યા what was the response from the communities in terms of the actual for your survey your study that you did what was the responses and the question is you know were there any communities that didn't come forward or you managed not to engage with?
That's a really good question, Kirit bhai. There are some communities that we still have to do a lot of work in gaining access to, not because we haven't tried or not because they don't want to talk to us. We've had a really good response from the South Asian community, from all backgrounds, whether it's India, East African, Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, etc. there are some communities who talking about death is very much taboo. So it's not something that is easily discussed. And we have not forced any communities to come forward and share them. So this is totally voluntary from their part, but without understanding what is important to them. So there are, some communities where it's been a bit difficult. For example, the Somali community. And yesterday we were on Hashim Duale's program, and that was excellent. And we need those community leaders, people like yourselves and Dinesh Bhai, who can allow us or facilitate entry and access into these groups, because people like yourselves are trusted people. People see you and they think, okay, if Dinesh Bhai and if Kirit Bhai are talking about this, then there must be some value to it. And if people like yourselves can then introduce us and facilitate those conversations, then it's really important. I think what we need to remember, Kirit Bhai, is that although the study is coming to an end, we're really still at the beginning. And this whole study has allowed us to start to build links and build relationships into those communities, where from this point forward, we are hoping to now start to have a stronger engagement and a stronger conversation, not just about end-of-life care, but healthcare in general, and allow these people to then access services like Loros so they feel safe and comfortable in doing so.
Okay, I'm going to bring in Dinesh Bhai to translate that.
अच्छा, अभी इरफान भाई ने बताया कि समाज के लोगों का इस स्टडी के बारे में उन्होंने किस तरह से अपनी सहायता की है, तो उसके बारे में इरफान भाई ने कहा कि लोगों ने बहुत ही उदारता के साथ सहायता दी है, पर कुछ समाज ऐसे है कि जहां अभी पहुंच नहीं पाए, जैसे सोमाली है, बांग्लादेशी है, जूइश है। अन्य समाज में बहुत सारे लोगों का सहकार मिला है, और देखने की बात है यह है कि ये स्टडी से जो विविध समाज के लोगों के साथ बात करनी मिली, उससे जो भी अनुभव प्राप्त होता है, वो अनुभव को स्वास्थ्य की सेवा प्रदान करने वाले जो एक्सपर्ट्स है, प्रोफेशनल्स है, उनके साथ या समाज के लोगों का अनुभव उनको बताया जाए, और आशा की जाती है कि इस अनुभव के साथ वे समाज को अच्छी सेवा प्रदान कर सकते हैं। समस्या कुछ इसमें आ रही है कि जो ऐसे कुछ सांस्कृतिक, ऐसे कुछ धार्मिक बातें हैं जिसकी वजह से लोग खुलकर नहीं सकते, जिसे हम इंग्लिश में टाबू कहते हैं, तो लोग उसे अपने पास ही रखना चाहते हैं, लोगों को बताना नहीं चाहते। तो उसमें ये बहुत ही जरूरी है कि समाज के कुछ प्रतिष्ठित आगेवान लीडर इसमें अगर शामिल हुए, क्योंकि समाज के लोगों को उनके लिए बहुत ही अच्छा रिस्पेक्ट होता है, उनके लिए उनको आदर सम्मान की भावना होती है। तो उस आदर सम्मान का लाभ लेकर समाज के लोगों तक पहुंचा जा सकता है, और हो सके उतने ज्यादा लोगों का अनुभव प्राप्त करके यह स्टडी की जा सके।
ओके, दिनेश भाई, तूने बहुत अच्छी तरफ से सबको बताया है कि ये रिसर्च का क्या बात है। Now we will move to the next question. I imagine it's a sensitive subject to tackle. How do we go about doing this? I know we've spoken about this. We've kind of answered this in other forms earlier on as well, but I think let's talk about the sensitivity and the trust of the community. A few words about that, really. I think it's important for us कि आपरी जे community check है कि आपरे trust के भी ना करे बदाने के and the sensitivity आ शब्द जब वो is very sensitive, you know. So who would like to answer that? Is that Irfan or Christina?
Irfan, you take that one.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. It is obviously very sensitive, and where we have been really fortunate is within Loros we have highly trained, skilled expertise around research and dealing with sensitive issues like this. What we've been very lucky is that those people who have come forward have done so with a full understanding of what is involved. It's been very much a journey in partnership with the patients and their families. And again, I think with certain communities, talking about this is just, it's not an easy thing. And some communities, for example, the Rastafarian community or the Chinese community, they don't even wish to talk about illness or death. It's just, there's nothing, or they don't even want to engage with healthcare services. So it has been done with the utmost of respect, the utmost of understanding, and with the best of sensitivity. So throughout all stages of the data capture, the people have been put first. So if they're uncomfortable, if they don't want to do it, there is no requirement or compulsion for them to carry on. So this is, we have to recognize the fact that the people come first within the process. But thankfully, with the expertise that we've had and the amazing response we've had, we've really been able to get some very, very important information from the interviews.
Okay, thanks for that. I'm going to take it straight to Dinesh Bhai. There you go, Dinesh Bhai.
अच्छा, अभी इरफान भाई ने बताया कि उनको प्रश्न पूछा गया कि बहुत ही संवेदनशील विषय है, तो संवेदनशीलता को ध्यान में रखते हुए उन्होंने या किस तरह से उनका ये काम किया, तो उन्होंने कहा है कि उनका अनुभव यह है कि ये बहुत ही संवेदनशील है, किंतु लॉरस का बहुत सालों का एक अनुभव है ऐसी क्षणों में लोगों की सेवा करने के लिए, उनकी केयर लेने के लिए, और वो अनुभव इसमें बहुत ही सहायक बना है कि उसी अनुभव के साथ उन्होंने बहुत सारे परिवारों से बात की है और उन्होंने भी बहुत ही खुलकर जवाब दिया, खुलकर उनका अनुभव बताया है। और ये बहुत ही, ये जानने से बहुत ही सभी को खुशी होगी, प्रसन्नता होगी कि लोगों को जो केयर मिली है, जो संभाल मिली है ऐसी क्षणों में, वो बहुत ही अच्छी लोगों ने बताया है।
Okay, so moving forward, I just want to quickly go over a few things. Is how the next question we're going to move on is there been any gaps or any improvements into end of life care from this research? Anyone want to answer that one?
If I may, yeah. So for some people, there are considerable gaps. Overall, it's because sometimes the information hasn't been shared with people, or there's been a reluctance, maybe because of misunderstanding, maybe because of choice to take up things that might help. So moving forward, we'd like to work much more with communities. We want to be invited in to have more conversations, to gain more shared understanding of how we can prevent gaps, how we can share information in a way that makes most sense, that's most accessible, how we can accompany people on the journey in a way that helps most. By that I mean be alongside, ready to pick up any needs, pieces. If people are in pain, make sure they get the help with that, rather than have a crisis where suddenly everything results in being an A&E and people shocked and not doing the last part, that when people are really dying in the way that they really want to be together.
Okay, Dinesh bhai.
अच्छा, अभी क्रिस्टीना ने बताया कि लोगों की अपेक्षा और जो अभी सेवा प्रदान की जाती है उसमें कुछ गैप्स यानी ऐसा कुछ है जो नहीं हो सकता और उसमें क्या सुधार किया जाता है, तो उसी के बारे में क्रिस्टीना ने बताया कि इस स्टडी में कुछ ऐसा कुछ दिखाया गया कि जहां अपेक्षा के मुताबिक नहीं हो रहा है, जैसे जो जानकारी लोगों को दी जानी चाहिए वो जानकारी दी नहीं जाती, कुछ समझदारी कम हो जाती कि जो कहना क्या चाहते हैं और सुनने वाले समझते क्या है, तो इसी के लिए क्या किया जाए। तो उसी के बारे में क्रिस्टीना ने बताया कि यह बहुत ही ज़रूरी है कि समाज के लोगों के साथ बहुत ज़्यादा काम किया जाए, उनसे अनुभव पाया जाए, उनसे बहुत सारी बातें की जाए ताकि जो भी ऐसी आवश्यकता है उसे उसके बारे में जान सके और उसी के बारे में कुछ किया जा सकते।
Absolutely. I just want to move on. I know we are kind of moving forward for time. I just want to say, so what are the hopes for the Thinking of Ahead project going forward? What do we aim to achieve in terms of outreach work, keeping the conversation going, and what we found from the study of the end of life conversation? Who wants to go for that? Anyone?
Shall I start?
Yes, let's do Christina.
Okay, so we have three people who we're calling outreach workers, three people who are ready to come and talk further with people about the subject and about what people want, and that's in a group way. So if there are any groups that would like to invite us to come along, please do get in touch to take this conversation further. On an individual way, we'd like to make sure that people know how to get the support, but also have conversations with their families and with their health professionals about what their preference is, how the last part of their lives, which, as Irfan started the show saying, it's so important. We all agree how much the last part of our lives with our families, how important that is to all of us and to the families after the person has died. That how that all goes is so important for the people that live on with those memories. So how, for the individual people, can we get that right? But the starting point for that is conversations in the communities to share knowledge. What generally we have found is that people say, and it goes to this stigma concept that we had earlier in the show, is that a lot of people say, my community expects me to do this, but this is actually what I found was really important for us, and it was difficult for me to have that pressure on my shoulders, that I needed to do this, or I need to talk to people more, but that's difficult to do because not everybody feels open about that.
Okay, I want to give it to Kirit Bhai, and then he can talk till just before the commercials, and we'll come back after the commercials and wrap up. Yeah.
Okay, Christina બોલ્યું કે આપણે સ્ટડી આગળ જવા માટે છે ને એ લોકો એ લોકોના વર્કર્સ છે, આઉટરીચ વર્કર્સ, એ લોકો કમ્યુનિટીમાં આવવું છે, જો ગ્રુપ્સ હોય આપણા કમ્યુનિટીમાં તો એ લોકો આવશે ને વાત કરશે વધારે આ સ્ટડીનું ને કઈ રીતના આપણે એ લોકોને સપોર્ટ કરશું ને NHS ને સપોર્ટ કરશું તો આપણા કમ્યુનિટી જેને સફળ થતા છે આ બીમારીમાં તો એ લોકોને રાઇટ સર્વિસીસ મળે. બીજું કે જે બીજું મોટું પ્રોબ્લેમ છે કે આપણે છે ને કમ્યુનિટીમાં ઘરમાં છે ને બધું બારે નથી પાડવું ને આપણે જે ત્યારે બારે નહીં પાડે ત્યારે પછી આપણે ખબર નથી કે ક્યાં જવાનું ને કયો રસ્તો લેવાનો. એટલે એ બી જરૂર છે કે આપણે વધારે કમ્યુનિટીમાં આપણે વાત કરે આ બધા એન્ડ ઓફ લાઈફની વાત કરે ને પછી તો જો વાત કરે તો પછી બધા સોલ્યુશન્સ આપણેથી લેવાય. મેઇન તો એ છે ને બીજું કે આપણા બધા કમ્યુનિટીમાં બધા મોસ્ક ટેમ્પલ્સ ગુરુદ્વારાસમાં ત્યાં બી બધા ગ્રુપ્સ બી ચલાવતા છે. એમાં બી આપણે જો એ લોકો વર્કર્સ છે એ લોકોના આઉટરીચ વર્કર્સ એ લોકો એમાં જશે તો પછી આગળ કમ્યુનિટીમાં વધારે એન્ગેજ થશે. તો જેને કૃષ્ણે કીધું કે જેને સપોર્ટ કરવો હોય તો એ લોકો ડિટેલ આપશે આ શોમાં પછી તમે પોતે એ લોકોને કોન્ટેક્ટ કરજો.
ને મારે જરીક બોલવું છે કે તમારે લોરસને કોન્ટેક્ટ કરવો હોય તમને કંઈ કહેવું હોય આ રિસર્ચમાં અહીંયા લખેલું છે research@loros.co.uk. આપણને કોન્ટેક્ટ કરો EAVA FM માં પછી આપણે તમને એ લોકો સાથે સંબંધ કરી લેશું કે પછી તમે વાત કરો લોરસ સાથે કે આમાં શું છે આપણું એન્ડ ઓફ લાઈફમાં કોઈનું ધ્યાન થવાનું હોય તમને કંઈ બોલવું હોય તમને ઇવેન્ટ રાખવું હોય બીજા સાથે વાત કરવી હોય તમને સપોર્ટ વર્કર
EAVA sharing the richness of cultures. This is EAVA FM.
Grill Shack, Leicester's finest jerk chicken specialist, giving you that carnival taste all year round. Jerk chicken, rice and peas, coleslaw and fried dumplings. Yummy. Come and check us out in the heart of the city, 167 Belgrave Gate, Leicester, LE1 3HS. Try our boneless jerk range in a wrap, gourmet burger, pita or strips. What we do in our jerk range, we also do in peri peri. Online delivery via Just Eat, Deliveroo, I'll Get It and Zoom. For collection and orders, call us on 0116 262 2885. That's 0116 262 2885. Grill Shack, the authentic taste that brings a smile to your face every time.
Boom! This is Orisha song.
And you're listening to EAVA FM.
Hey!
We there, Aki and saltfish, roast yam there, hot gal in the party, enough gal there.
Pack your bags.
And come Orisha sound there. EAVA FM.
Talking about end of life is never easy. It is especially difficult for us who come from ethnic minority groups because of taboo, culture, or not understanding how we can get help. It never seems like the right time to do this, but having a conversation about your end of life care has never been more important. It's not just the medical care you receive, but it's about making sure your values and spiritual needs are respected. Loros Hospice and EAVA FM would love to invite you to join them for a week of special programs beginning on Monday, 5th of July 2021. Why not get involved in helping to improve the care you and your loved ones receive so when the time comes, you can all have an experience that is not only dignified and supported, but one that fulfills your personal needs. For more information, please visit www.loros.co.uk/thinkingahead.
This is EAVA FM.
1 in 4 adults are unwell with their mental health each year. We want to invest in and improve mental health services for adults in Leicester, Leicestershire and Rutland to make care easy to access, with health services working together to support people's individual needs. Whether you use services now or may in the future, tell us what matters most to you and your family by sharing your views in a consultation. Complete a survey at www.greatmentalhealthllr.nhs.uk or call 0116 295 0750. And together we can make the change. Step up to great mental health today.
EAVA FM is a multilingual radio station serving the diverse communities of Leicester on 102.5 FM. For advertising and sponsorship, email sales@eavafm.com or call 07811 659 364. That's 07811 659 364. Serving the community, 102.5 EAVA FM.
So we are back live, EAVA FM 102.5, and today it's a takeover from Loros. Aje apre koinu આપણે લોરોસ ને લઈ આવેલા છે આપણા EAVA FM પર બહુ સ્પેશલ શો છે આપણી સારું એ લોકોને बहुत thank you બોલવાનું છે કે એ લોકો આજે આવ્યા છે and to talk about end of life. So I just really want to kind of quick recap and also say, where do we want to go next in terms of this research or moving forward or keeping the conversation going about end of life care? Irfan, is that your cue?
Yeah, happy to take that. So first of all, Vijay, thank you for everything you've done in helping us set up these shows. We really would not be in this position if it wasn't for your support and commitment. So, I don't think there's a need to thank us. It should be the way around. But this, as I said before, the end of the study is really the beginning of what we're looking to build upon. What we would really love and what we really need is for communities and people like Dinesh Bhai and Kirit Bhai to invite us and really take this message back into the communities and then encourage that conversation to continue and to allow people. And it's a strange thing because it's almost as if our communities and ethnic communities need permission to talk about certain things. And what we want to do is, it's not about us. Well, we do need the permission to go into these communities, but it's about, I think, empowering and improving the awareness of our communities that Loros is not just a care home where people go to die. It's much, much more than that. I'm not even sure how much our communities understand about what Loros does. It's totally free. So Loros is a charity and is funded partly by the NHS. So the services that people can access, it won't cost them any money. But what we really want going forward is just to be able to have very strong personal relationships with our communities so we can continue talking to them and supporting them. That's the key thing. Looking after someone at end of life can be very isolating. And COVID pandemic has shown just how isolating it can be. And the fact that healthcare professionals play such an important role because they then stand in for the family members because they physically can't be there because of the restrictions. So what we want is our communities to recognize that this is an opportunity. It's a real opportunity for them to give us the information, or give Loros the information, give the NHS the information that can then help their loved ones or they themselves when the time comes to be looked after in the way they would like.
Okay, thank you for that, Irfan. I'm going to give it back to Dinesh Bhai here and he will explain and then we'll go to Kirit Bhai. Okay, Dinesh Bhai.
अच्छा अभी इरफान भाई ने बहुत ही अच्छी तरह से हमें समझाया कि लोरोस एक ऐसी संस्था है, एक ऐसी चैरिटी है जो सिर्फ एक केयर होम नहीं है. ऐसा नहीं है कि आपके घर के ऐसे लोग जिनकी आप संभाल नहीं ले सकते, जो मृत्यु के नजदीक है, उन्हें आप लोरोस भी छोड़ा है. ऐसा नहीं है. लोरोस का जो सेवा प्रदान करती है वो बहुत ही बड़ी है. तो उसके लिए क्या चाहिए? उसी के लिए लोरोस को विभिन्न समाज के लोगों के साथ बहुत ही एक अच्छा एक संपर्क चाहिए कि जिससे वे उनके संपर्क में रहे, उनसे बातें करते रहे, ताकि वे उनसे बहुत ही उनके निजी अनुभव पाए और उन अनुभव का उपयोग करके वे उनकी सेवा को अच्छी बना सके. अभी जो कोरोना वायरस का की महामारी आ गई, उसमें बहुत सारे लोगों को ने देखा कि उनके परिजन जो मृत्यु की बहुत ही नजदीक है, उनसे भी उन्हें मिलना नहीं मिला. तो ये एक ऐसा अनुभव है लोग अपने जीवन भर भूल नहीं सकते. किंतु जो भी अच्छे बुरे अनुभव होते हैं उनसे सीख कर अगर सेवाएं अच्छी बना सके तो बहुत ही अच्छा होगा.
ओके, दिनेश भाई तुमने कोई बोलવું છે આની અંદર?
જે દિનેશભાઈ બોલ્યા બહુ સારી રીતે સમજાવ્યું હિન્દીમાં કે આપણે જે લોરસ આગળ કહીને લઈ જવાનું છે સર્વે સ્ટડી મેઇન તો છે ને કે આપણા કમિટીમાં એ લોકો ખાસ કમિટી સાથે જોડીને કામ કરવું છે તો આપણા કમિટીને ફાયદો થશે ને જે લોકોની સર્વિસીસ મળવું જોઈએ એ મળશે આપણા કલ્ચરલી આપણા ધાર્મિક પ્રમાણે ને જે મેઇન કે આપણા પેશન્સ લખી તરીકે છે ને એ લોકોને સારી રીતે જ્યારે ટાઈમ આવશે ત્યારે તે લોકોને સગવડ મળશે બીજું કે અરફાનભાઈ કે બોલ્યા કે જો થોડુંક ઇંગ્લિશમાં બોલીશ અરફાનભાઈ we've, from the work I do in the community, we've had a great relationship with Dinesh Bhai through the Diabetes Centre, purely because we've been trying to tackle subjects like organ donation, right? That's another taboo within our community. So again, that's something that a lot of our communities need organs because of the health conditions, but are not coming forward in donation. So we've been trying to tackle some of the stigmas and taboos around organ donation as well, like with end-of-life care. So I think mainly is that we need to keep these conversations going, and we need to have that engagement with LOROS and with other healthcare organizations to kind of really work more closely. And that's the way forward, I think, in terms of helping you with your study going forward.
Okay, I've just had a message come in from a listener, and they didn't want to be named. They actually mentioned to me, they go, Vijay, we're really loving, but also they wanted me to mention that we are not telling communities, right, when your people are coming to end of life, go and drop them off to LOROS. That's end of story. We are not telling communities to do this, or this is not what this research is about. We're not encouraging them to say, right, you are no longer part of that service of end of life. We are actually telling people to get help and support, be there along the way, have the support, while give yourself the support for actually carrying on to look after your loved ones during their end of life care. Is that right in me saying that, Christina and Irfan? And in terms of, it's not a way of saying, right, passing the book over and saying, right, our loved one is coming to the end of life, let's just go and drop them off to LOROS or a care home. No, it's not about that. It's a lot more than that. It's about having the support to look after them, correct? Whether you're caring for them at home, or if you don't have the capacity to care for them in your home space, you will get support from LOROS and other hospices out there. Is that right?
Can I just say, Vijay, that's a really important point that you just made, and I'd like to thank that listener for asking that question, because I myself had that same opinion of a hospice and LOROS. So the reason why I'm involved in this project is it's very personal for me. So my mother died in LOROS 8.5 years ago. And up until then, I had no idea I knew what LOROS was. I knew it was an organization in our city, but I had no idea about the services they provide. And for me, it changed my life. So to the listeners, I want you to understand that this is about allowing you as a family member to spend time with your loved one as they go through that. It's also about you as family members to have the support and the respite that you will need because of the stress associated with looking after somebody as they're coming to the end of their life. So I totally agree that this is not about just dropping somebody at the doorstep of a care home or a hospice and saying, here you go, thanks very much. No, this highlights exactly why it is so important for our communities to be aware of what's going on out there. Because I think one of the sad things is that when we don't receive the care or we have a bad experience, we are so quick to complain. But when we have opportunities like this, where we say, please come and talk to us and let's have a discussion, very few people come forward. And this is about saying that, look, we can't do this on our own. We can't do this on this. So for me, I'm not a healthcare expert. I'm not an academic. I'm just a normal person. Yeah. I'm just a normal person who accessed the service. And because of it, it stuck with me and it's changed my life. And that's why I feel a sense of responsibility to my community to say, you're not alone. You can get through this.
Yeah, I just want Dinesh Bhai to really explain that to the listeners and really get that message across, because I think me talking to Dinesh Bhai, he's taught me a lot in terms of Sanatan Dharma. He's taught me a lot in terms of that area because he's our go-to person, and he said that is the so I want him to mention that and kind of explain a little bit about what it says in the Hinduism as well, that this is not about simply dropping your fat loved one off to there and passing the book over. No, it's about how having the right support to look after your loved ones during that end of life process. And whether it's at home, you can do that in your own home if you have the capacity, or having the support from a professional hospice or healthcare. Right, Dinesh Bhai?
धन्यवाद विजय भाई. सालों के अनुभव के बाद लोगों को, क्योंकि इसी क्षणों में मृत्यु के बाद कई लोगों को हम सेवा दे रहे हैं और लोगों के साथ बातें भी करना मिलता है, और ये एक बात लोग बहुत ही सालों के बाद भी उनको कष्टदायक रहती है कि उनको अपने माता या पिता को या किसी परिजन को, जब उनको बहुत ही जरूरत थी परिवार की, उसी क्षण में उनको केयर होम में छोड़ना पड़ा, और सालों के बाद वे अभी ये भूल नहीं पाते. उनके अंदर एक तरह का गिल्टी मीन्स कुछ बुरा किया वैसा एहसास उनके मन में रह जाता है. और उनसे भी बात हुई है. वैसे क्या है कि जैसे हिंदू धर्म में और सभी धर्म में यही एक है कि आखिर वक्त पर परिजनों को यह इच्छा होती है कि वे वही वहाँ उनकी उपस्थिति रहे, और ज्यादातर हिंदू धर्म में आखिरी वक्त प्रार्थनाएं की जाती है, और जब कहा जाता है कि आत्मा शरीर छोड़ती है, उसी समय एक बहुत ही पुरानी परंपरा है कि कान में भगवान का नाम, या तो कुछ अच्छा कुछ कहा जाए कि यह आत्मा कुछ अच्छी प्रेरणा लेकर यहाँ से प्रस्थान करे ताकि आगे का जीवन अच्छा बन जाए. तो यह एक ऐसी चीज है जिसके बिना अगर कोई परिजन अपने माता पिता या किसी और परिजन के मृत्यु के समय वे अगर वहां उपस्थित न रहे तो वे सालों तक वो याद करते रहते हैं. उनके हृदय में कुछ भारीपन महसूस होता है. तो इसीलिए और दूसरी एक बात, जैसे मेरी अपनी धर्मपत्नी जो आज 20 साल पहले छोटे छोटे बच्चों के लोरोस में जाना का कहा गया तो उसने ना कह दी, और उसी समय ये तो इच्छा मृतक की थी, पर जब परिजनों के साथ उनके रिश्तेदारों के पास जब यह आ जाता है तब उन्हें भेजे या न भेजे यह समस्या बहुत ही बड़ी हो जाती है. अच्छा विजय भाई.
Okay. Kirit भाई, तुमने कोई फाइनल वर्ड्स की बोलવું છે તમને?
જે અફાન ભાઈ બોલા કે જો આપણા કમ્યુનિટી આગળ નથી આવતા આ સર્વેઝમાં સ્ટડી જે કરતા છે જાત જાતની હેલ્થ સર્વેઝ નથી આવતા આગળ. જરૂર છે કે આપણે આગળ આવવું જોઈએ. અત્યારે અમે પોતે એન્થની નોઝન સાથે સ્ટેમ સેલની સર્વે ચાલુ કરી છે કે આપણે એશિયન લોકો જે પેશન્ટ્સ હોય કે અત્યારે કોવિડમાં કેવી રીતના એ લોકોની સર્વિસીસ મળ્યા છે પણ તો બી આગળ નથી આવતા. એટલે અમે એ બી છે કે આ કેન્સર આજે કેન્સરની વાત કરી છે, જાત જાતના કેન્સર્સ હોય, એટલે જરૂર છે કે આપણે આગળ આવો ને મદદ કરો આ સર્વેઝમાં કે આપણે પોતે જુદા જુદા કન્ડિશન્સ હોય, કદાચ ડાયાબિટીસ હોય, આપણે જો આપણે આગળ નહીં આવે તો આપણા ફ્યુચર સર્વિસીસમાં નથી આપણે બદલવાના. ને આપણા કમ્યુનિટી આપણા ધર્મમાં ને કલ્ચરના એ લોકોને જરૂર છે કે આપણે એ લોકોને કહે કે કઈ રીતના આપણા સાથે વાત કરવું છે.
Okay. Yeah. Fantastic. દિનેશભાઈએ બોલ્યા કે આપણે હવે વાત કરવા જોઈએ ને કિરીટભાઈ બી બોલ્યા કે આપણે વાત કરવા જોઈએ ને આપણું ડિસિઝન કરવું જોઈએ ને આપણે નથી કહેતા કોઈને કે તમે મૂકી આવો હેલ્થ કેરમાં કે હોસ્પિસમાં તમે જે જેના ધ્યાન થવાનું હોય કે બીમાર હોય તમે મૂકી આવો ને ભૂલી જાવ એ લોકોને ના આપણે એમ નથી કહેતા આપણે એમ કહેતા છે કે આપણે સપોર્ટ માંગે આપણે મદદ કરીએ આપણે ઘરે રાખવું હોય કે આપણે કેર હોમમાં કરવું હોય કે હોસ્પિસમાં લઈ જવું હોય એમાં કઈ શરમની વાત નથી આપણે કોઈને વાત કરે ને કે જો આપણા ઘરે કોઈ બીમાર છે તો કોઈ બીમાર હોય શરમની વાત નથી આપણે છે ને કોઈ બીમાર હોય તો આપણે છે ને પૂછવાનું કે જો આપણા જે ભાઈને લોક છે કે બેન લોક છે કે આપણે તો ઇંગ્લેન્ડમાં હોસ્પિસ છે ને હોસ્પિટલ વાળા બી છે તો આપણે એ લોક ખાતે વાત કરવી જોઈએ ને પછી વાત કરવી જોઈએ ને પછી કેવું જોઈએ કે ચાલો આપણને મદદ કરો આપણને હેલ્પ કરવા હારું is that right in me saying that, Irfan? I think that's really important, especially within the South Asian community, right? That it's about getting the right help and support during that period than more than anything, right?
Exactly, because this is about helping people live the best possible life as they approach end of life.
Yes, absolutely.
So making sure that they are comfortable, they have their requirements in place, the family members are supported, because as Asians we have very large extended families. Everybody wants to play their part in
this is where the actual stigma comes from, right? If I'm sorry to stop you there, this is where when we keep saying there's a stigma, the word the stigma, people don't understand what it actually is. Do you know what I mean? So the stigma is they are scared of sending their family members away to a care home or anything like that. See, our phones are starting to ring now all the time. It's fine. It's fine. So do you know what I mean? It's about getting the right help and support to get the best life care, last bit of life to the fullest, to help people move forward to the fullest. I think that's really important.
And the important thing is that a lot of the family members, they have to deal with a lot of stress, but they can't talk to anyone about how they're feeling. So places like Loros give you peace of mind because it allows you to fulfill that responsibility of looking after your parents, which in Asian communities is a very big thing. But it allows you to do it whilst you can still spend time with your mum or dad or still enjoy that time. So because looking after someone who might have dementia or Alzheimer's is extremely stressful and it has a very long-term impact on the carer. So it's like you say, it's about giving them the support and the peace of mind to do that.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing we have there. So I'm going to give it back to Dinesh Bhai just to finish off and wrap up. Thank you so much, Irfan and Christina, for joining us. Christina, do you have any final words?
I just emphasize that this is an approach. Most people want to be at home. We can support that through GPs and nurses and others at home. But it takes quite a lot of information and preparation to hope for the best, but also prepare for the worst to fulfill that. It's fulfilling people's wishes.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining us today. I've got to say thank you because having you guys there as being in the industry and being experts, it gives us the actual confidence to talk about this more on air. If that kind of makes sense, when our presenters want to talk about these subjects on air, it's nice to have somebody from a hospice, somebody with knowledge and what's actually happening and what's available to the people out there in terms of this. So thank you for contacting and info.
I think also Irfan Bhai, it's people like Irfan Bhai who's had the lived experience, who have gone through it.
Yes.
They're the people who can get the message out. And I think we need more people with lived experience. And I think thanks to EAVA FM, I think this health show is what we're trying to do. We're trying to break down these stigmas, the taboos. We need to bring all these conditions and get people talking from a lived experience point of view.
Okay. Dinesh Bhai, tumne koi bolna chahe ani andar as final words?
क्रिस्टीना और इरफान को बहुत 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 धन्यवाद कि ये महत्वपूर्ण बात लेकर हमारे सामने आए और बहुत सारी बातें हमें कही और सभी के जीवन में यह एक जैसे जन्म होता है वैसे मृत्यु भी निश्चित है। तो यह निश्चित जो जीवन में होने ही वाला है, उसी के बाद ऐसी महत्वपूर्ण बातों के बारे में यह स्टडी हो रही है। तो समाज के सभी सदस्यों को, सभी आगेवानों को एक अनुरोध है, एक विनती है कि आप इसी स्टडी में, इसी अभ्यास में आपकी बातें रखें, आपके जो भी अनुभव हो, दूसरे के अनुभव लाकर सभी अनुभव उनसे बताएं, ताकि इस स्टडी से यह जाना मिले कि विविध समाज के और विविध संस्कृति के लोगों के लिए ये मृत्यु के क्षण के आसपास की जो सेवा है वो कैसे इस तरह से बेहतरीन बनाया जा सके कि जो मृत्यु के क्षण के नजदीक जो व्यक्ति है उन्हें, जैसे क्रिस्टीना ने कहा, कि अच्छा कंफर्ट मिले, कंफर्टेबल, कि जैसे जीवन में के दूसरे क्षणों में जैसे हमें सुख सुविधा का अनुभव हुआ, वैसे ही हमें मृत्यु के क्षण के नजदीक भी, और जो भी जरूरतें हैं न सिर्फ मृतक की बट किंतु उनके परिवारजनों की भी, यह सभी उसमें शामिल हो, तो उस तरह से हम सेवा प्रदान कर सके। इसलिए लोरोस ने यह स्टडी शुरू की है और उसमें आपका हो सके उतनी सहायता आप दे सके तो बहुत ही अच्छा होगा। सभी को धन्यवाद।
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, we're going to be moving on to the show. We're going to be talking more, but thank you so much. Thank you for your time today, Irfan, and Christina. Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you, Vijay. Thank you both. Thank you. Thank you all three of you. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Kirit bhai, I know tomorrow show શરૂ થવાનું છે, નવું show છે, તમારો health show છે. બધાને કહો કે તમારો show આવે Thursday ના ગુરુવાર 8 થી 10 તમારો શો ચાલુ જ થવાનું છે, એટલે હવે તમે બધાને બોલો કે તમારો શો હાનું છે. પછી આપણે આપણું લાઈવ બી બંધ કરી નાખે ને YouTube બી બંધ કરી નાખે ને પછી તમારો શો ચાલુ કરો.
Okay, તો વિજયભાઈ કીધું કે every Thursday આપણે છે ને 8 થી 10 નવો બ્રેકફાસ્ટ શો, હેલ્થ શો ચાલુ કરવાનો છે. આપણે જે બધી આજે કેન્સરની વાત કરી છે, પણ જે બધી આપણી હેલ્થ કન્ડિશન્સ જે આપણે સફર થતા છે આપણી કમ્યુનિટીમાં, એ અમે લઈ આવશું આ શો ઉપર. મેં એક તો કીધું કે ઓર્ગન ડોનેશન, આપણે કમ્યુનિટી અંગદાનનું, એ બી અમે વાત કરશું. પણ જરૂર છે કે તમે આગળ આવો ને તમે કહો કે તમે શું શોમાં આપણે શું કયા સબ્જેક્ટ ચાલુ કરે છે, શું વાત કરે, એ તમારે જાણવું છે. એટલે તમે અમને કોન્ટેક્ટ કરજો અહીંયા શો ઉપર, તો આપણા જે દર વીકે શો પછી.
Brilliant. Thank you, Kirit. Okay, we're going to go off our live and we're going to go off our YouTube, Facebook and YouTube channel. So thank you so much. Let's just give a quick wave to the camera to everyone. Yeah. Okay. Bye. Bye. Okay. So Kirit, bye. Do you want to carry